And that little John boat just caught something. And I just hooked something too. Feels decent. Man, what is this? This feels nice. Everything has felt nice on this rod. Oh yeah, it's a bass. Nice bass. Yes, sir. Hey. Oh, baby. That's a good fish. That's a good fish. Oh, yes, sir. Look at that fish, guys. Look at that bass. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Cross Country Bank Angler. And today I've got another fishing gear review video for you. We're going to be looking at another fishing rod. It's actually going to be a bait casting rod this time. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit, go through the specifications of this rod, give my initial impressions of the rod, and then we're gonna take it out on the water and see if we can catch some fish with it. Let's get started. All right, people, so the rod that I've got today is a bait casting rod from a small company called Handing. They sent in this rod to me, wanted me to take a look at it. So, you know, this company, it's a smaller company, pretty much online only as far as I can tell. And, you know, they actually sent me some lures a few months ago. I did a video on those. It was a lipless crankbait kit. Let's get a little more into the specifications. So you can see right here that designation C661M. That is stands for, you know, that designation for casting 6'6" length, one piece, medium. So this is a one piece casting rod, medium power, fast action casting rod. So let's start with the grip section here. Look at this. Look at the butt of the rod. It's kind of a distinctive look here. It's kind of a pentagonal shape here at the back with the company logo. This is it feels very light. I think it's just carbon or graphite, this back section, but definitely a little bit different. I'll have to, you know, see if this really affects the fishing or not. You know, overall this is a pretty standard length of grip, and that really matters more to me than like the shape necessarily back here. But it is a unique stylistic choice, obviously, that the company has made here with that. The main grip here is typical EVA foam, which I think is just fine for a rod. I don't really like EVA for the grips on a reel, but I think for a rod it's fine. It's the graphite reel seat here seems to adjust pretty easily, as I would more or less expect. And you can see there's kind of a hard stop right here, so this is going to lock into place pretty well. And it's easy to kind of loosen, and, you know, it doesn't get stuck or anything like that, at least so far. You know, stylistically, you can see the rod has these green accents on it. That's kind of the aesthetic of this rod, green accents. The trigger on this rod, you know, it's a pretty thin trigger. It's not too short, and it seems like it's in the right position. You know, there's some rods that I've used where the trigger feels like it's too far forward or too far back, or it's really wide, and it ends up kind of being a little uncomfortable. But this one looks like about what I sort of prefer. Just test the flex on this really quick here. So this is about what I would expect for a fast, maybe a little bit on the softer side, but it more or less, in my opinion, it falls kind of fairly typical fast action rod to me. Let's see, the lure weight range on this is a little interesting. It's a 1/8 ounce to a 5/8 ounce recommended lure weight. We'll see if that really holds up or not. 1/8 ounce, I think that can, the actual weight of a 1/8 ounce lure can vary a lot. Are you talking about, a 1/8 ounce jig head on like, a 3 or 4 inch swim bait? Because in that case, I don't know, I think this would have no trouble casting that. But are you talking about like a 1/8 ounce jerk bait or a 1/8 ounce, crankbait, or like a crappie jig, a little 2-inch plastic where there isn't a lot of extra weight on the jig head? Maybe I'll try to put this thing to the test with some lighter lures to see if that 1/8 ounce designation really holds up. But that's also going to depend on what I put on, what reel, my configuration. So we'll have to see how that plays out on the water. And it does have a small hook holder right here, just a small little metal loop, a little further down the blank than I'm used to, but it looks just fine to me. I mean, the main thing for me with a rod is that it has a hook holder. I do have a couple rods that don't, and it is kind of frustrating to not have one. So another thing that I'm noticing about this, as I'm just kind of feeling it a little bit here, is that there's actually like a little bit of a texturing in the graphite here on this rod, where if you move your hand this way kind of towards the grip, it's smooth, but if you move your hand up, there's a little bit of texture, a little bit of roughness, almost like a light sandpapery feeling. Maybe if you're, when you're walking from place to place, on the bank or something, carrying your rods, not actively fishing, maybe this could kind of help you grip the rod a little bit better, keep it from falling out of your hands. This also came with a Fuji line guide sticker. So this rod is supposed to have Fuji guides, which are supposed to be very high quality. 9 guides, including the tip. The tip guides, that's a decent number. So one thing you might be wondering about this rod, it seems fine, but what's it cost? And this rod is gonna run you, I think full price is $120 for the 1-piece version. Interestingly, there's also a 2-piece version of the M1 casting rod, and that runs $70. But you can see that price difference between the 1-piece version that I have here and the 2-piece. And that kind of brings up the debate, is a 1-piece versus a 2-piece, like, is there a performance difference between those two? And, traditionally the answer is yes. You're gonna have more feel, more sensitivity in a 1-piece rod, and I think the pricing that Handing has set these rods at kind of is meant to reflect that. They believe that this 1-piece rod is going to be a better performer than the 2-piece, presumably based on that price difference. Now, I'm not entirely sure, with the most modern connections between the pieces and the latest materials, if that difference is as drastic as it used to be. Some people will say, the quality of your blank is what's most important. But that's another thing I'm gonna have to see on the water if it really makes a difference to me or not. Another thing that I'm noticing about this, guys, just kind of handling it here, this Handing M1 is noticeably lighter, guys, noticeably lighter. And that's just gonna be more comfort throughout a day of fishing. And also, usually, with lower weight, you're going to have a little more sensitivity as well, a little more feel. That's something that you're going to get as you upgrade your gear to something a little bit nicer. Hit that $100 or more price range, which is where this rod is at. Now, I don't remember this off the top of my head about the blanks on these. I think it's a 24-ton blank. It might be 36. I'll put that up here in the video. But so I'm excited to get out here and catch some fish with it. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll see you there. All right, people. So I'm gonna start doing some voiceover here. You know, the wind was super rough today on this day, and there were just portions of the audio where the wind noise was just a little too much. But anyway, I'm out here with the Handing M1. I've got it paired with a Shimano SLX DCXT HG. 10-pound test line. That should be a good combo, you know, a kind of a finessier reel with lighter line to kind of match with the sort of slightly lighter weight range of this or this rod, you know, that medium power and that 1/8 ounce to 5/8 ounce range. I'm actually starting off here with a lure from Handing as well, one of their M1 crankbaits, their lipless crankbaits. You should definitely check out my video on those little guys. They are good little lures. So, and yeah, you know, we just start off making some of our first casts here, and you know, those little lipless cranks, you can bomb those pretty easily. They cast really well. So, you know, these first few casts here were no trouble at all for the Handing M1. And something pretty weird happened here. You know, I was, you know, fishing and casting with this lipless crank for just a couple of minutes, and I actually ended up snagging a fish in the back here. And it happened multiple times. There was, you'll see here, it's a black crappie, not a big one by any means, but, you know, I snagged this one, and then, you know, I didn't include all of them, but I snagged another one a few minutes later, and then when I switched baits, maybe, you know, 20 minutes later, I snagged another one. So there was just like a school of crappie, and I think they were just kind of sitting there on the bottom. You know, they weren't really active yet. They weren't reacting to the lures. I was just kind of reeling over the top of their heads, and every now and then one of my hooks would just drag into their back here. So kind of funny, but yeah, they did not seem to be trying to react and actually feed, you know, attacking the lures at all. I was just in the right area casting through a school of inactive fish. So kind of unusual, not something that happens to me a whole lot. So now I decided to go ahead and try to test the weight range on this thing. I downsized here to a 1/8 ounce jig head and a 2.5 inch soft plastic swim bait here. This is a Z-Man Slim Swims swim bait. It's a nice little finessey lure. I love it for cold water. It worked here last time. And this is just a perfect lure to kind of test out that lighter weight range to see if this setup, you know, this rod and this reel can actually cast a 1/8 ounce lure. And, you know, this isn't something with a heavy plastic on it. You know, these Slim Swims are light, they're buoyant, you know, low density, soft plastic, relatively speaking. And I'm kind of adjusting the brakes here on the reel as well. But, you know, after a few, you know, minutes of kind of tuning this thing, guys, I actually was able to cast this little swim bait a perfectly fishable distance, to be honest. I was actually really pleased. You know, it took some adjustments of the casting, my casting stroke and the settings on the reel, but we were able to do it. We were able to even cast this thing into the wind. You can see I'm facing the wind here right now, and even through the wind, I was able to get, you know, a decent cast. You know, not a super bomb cast, but it was getting it out there at a perfectly fishable distance, just as far as I could get it on, you know, say a medium spinning rod. So I was really pleased to see just how light this thing could cast. And boom, we just get our first bite of the day here. It's a largemouth bass, and this one was in the mouth. It was not just a fish sitting there getting snagged. He wanted to eat, and he gets off right at our feet there. We did not set the hook enough, I guess, in that instance. But anyway, it was exciting to kind of get that first bite. And it was also, you know, while we were kind of testing this downsized profile, this lighter lure to see if it would work. So not only are we able to kind of cast well with the Slim Swims, but it's also getting us some bites. So that's two positives for this lure change so far in terms of both testing. Oh, and look at that. That wasn't much longer later, and we get another hit. And this is actually going to be our first fish landed of the day. And it's another largemouth bass, but it's a bit on the smaller side, maybe like a 9 or 10 inch fish. But I was happy to put a bend in this setup and get our first fish of the day. So happy to get this little guy. Little pre-spawn, probably a male, pushing up, starting to feed. So yeah, nice way to start the day. There's a fish. It's a chain pickerel. All right. All right. All right, fish. There's another species on the day, guys. On the swim bait, we got another one. All right. It's not bad. Not bad at all. 15-inch pickerel, maybe. And there he is, guys. There's our chain pickerel. Slimy, he's trying to get away. He's upset with us for catching him. But there's a fish. Nice. Let's let this guy go. See you, little pickerel. It's actually not that little. That's a decent sized one. Alright guys, so I just swapped to this Berkeley Fritz side, flat-sided crankbait. And we're just going to run back along the dam here with this. It's a Fire Tiger pattern. Did pretty well here with a flat side in the fall. So I'm hoping maybe we can repeat that. I was using a Rapala last time, which we could switch to that as well. But I wanted to try this first since it's a new lure. I got it for Christmas. And it might also cast a little bit better in the wind. But who knows, with this setup, maybe it doesn't really matter. Oh, there's a fish. That's a good fish. That thing's fighting. That's a good bass. Stay out of there. Stay out of that. No. Guys, how quick was that? That was like 3 casts in. Look at that. Look at that crankbait. Ooh-wee. Yes, sir. We made like 3 casts with that thing, guys, and it got jammed by a nice bass. Dude, that's like a 2.5, probably. Look at that, perfect hook right in the side of the jaw. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's a solid one. That's maybe a 2-pounder. That hit felt really nice. We really put a bend in it after that. Very, very nice, guys. On that new crankbait as well. Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful fish. All right, let's let this guy go. I don't think I'm gonna get a weight, but I'd say he's probably a little over 2 pounds, guys. Gave a good fight as well. Beautiful fish. Thank you, buddy. Nice bass, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Ah. Dang it. That freaking fish stole my lure. That was a big pickerel. I paused it and he hit it right in front of me. And just didn't quite swing him onto the bank in time, I guess. And yeah, I guess he nicked the line and now he's gone and he's got my crankbait. That was a big pickerel. That sucks. So we just switched over to the Rapala OG Tiny 4, another flat side. This one is balsa. But honestly, this setup is casting it almost the same distance as the plastic one. So I'm gonna keep covering water, guys. This is an area of the lake I haven't fished before. Just gonna keep covering water. There's a fish. Oh, that's big. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Is that the first cast over here? Hooks are outside of the mouth on his face, but he clearly went for it. So I'm counting that one. If it was on his back or something, maybe I wouldn't, but he smoked it. That might be the biggest of the day. He pulled some drag. Ooh. Ooh. That's a pretty fish. Not quite as washed out as that other bigger one that we caught. Yes, sir. Fishing has begun, guys. Some nice bass today. Caught a good pickerel as well. This one's about 2.5. Let's let her go. Nice. Woohoo. Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. You're watching Cross Country Bank Angler. If you're enjoying the video so far, if you've learned something new about fishing or just find the video entertaining or relaxing in any way, then I want to take the time to ask you to please subscribe to the channel. I know that there's a lot of fishing related content on YouTube right now. There are a lot of channels out there. So if you're taking the time to watch mine, I just want to say that I appreciate you and I hope you'll stick around. We've got weekly fishing videos here at Cross Country Bank Angler. You know, wade fishing, topwater, bait finesse, ultralight. So if that's the kind of fishing that you enjoy, then I encourage you to hit that subscribe button because I think you'll enjoy all the future content that I'm going to be putting out on the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you'll consider supporting me by subscribing. That was nice. Snagged it on the very next cast. That sucks. Alright guys, I just switched to this cheap little $1 Walmart spinnerbait Bass Pro Shop speed shed on it. Mainly because, you know, if I lose this thing, it's only $1, right? I'm not going to be too upset by that. So, we tried a spinnerbait earlier, guys. I didn't include that because we didn't get any bites, but, it seemed like in this part of the lake the water was a little more stained. So, I was just kind of slow rolling that little Walmart spinner here in a more stained area. And this was kind of like the entrance to a cove, and we get hit really hard by something. I thought it was a lot bigger than what it ended up being here. We, put up a good fight here, but it's ends up being another chain pickerel about the same size as that last one, that other one that we caught on the swim bait earlier in the day, in that like 15-inch range, 14 to 16. That seems to be the typical size for a pickerel in this lake. Good population of them in here. One of the better pickerel lakes in my area. So see, we that big old spinnerbait hook, it does tear their mouth a little bit, but we're going to get this guy back pretty quick here, and he should be just fine. And he's a little confused about what's going on. We had to give him a little push there to get back into the water. Discombobulated pickerel, contemplating the universe after that baffling experience. And that little John boat just caught something. And I just hooked something too. Feels decent. Man, what is this? This feels nice. Everything has felt nice on this rod. Oh yeah, it's a bass. Nice bass. Yes, sir. Hey. Oh, baby. That's a good fish. That's a good fish. Yes, sir. Look at that fish, guys. Look at that bass. Oh, yeah. He smoked it, guys. We've caught some nice ones today. I mean, that one might be 3. That one might be 3, guys. All right, we zeroed out. 2.6. Okay, about the same. All right, let's let him go. Beautiful bass. Thank you, sir. Oh, discombobulated. There you go. You figured it out. Nice fish. That's 3 that I think were around the same weight. 2.5. There's potential for a true beast. An 8-pounder and 10-pounder. All right, people. We just wrapped up our first day of pre-spawn spring fishing for 2025. This is really one of the first days this year where I really got out and was able to fish, most of the day. And it ended up being a pretty good day. And we were out there taking this new combo for a spin here, guys. And specifically, this Handing M1, this is really what we went out to kind of focus on and test today. Rated from 1/8 to 5/8 of an ounce. And today we were able to kind of fish probably through a lot of that weight range through the different techniques that caught fish today. We were able to get out there and use several different methods to catch some fish today, mostly bass and a couple of pickerel as well. But yeah, I mean, I was sort of skeptical of this rod and its weight range. Was it really going to be able to cast a 1/8 ounce bait? And we were able to do that, and we were able to catch fish while doing that. That little Z-Man Slim Swims caught our first couple of fish of the day, and we changed it up and caught some fish on crankbaits, flat-sided crankbaits, and then we finished off the day with some spinnerbait fishing. This one here caught the last fish of the day, about a 2.5 pounder. caught 3 fish today in that 2.5 pound class, guys, which is pretty darn good. That's a good size fish to catch, a good average fish to catch around me. So I was really pleased with how this whole setup performed today. It was really, it's nice and light. This carbon fiber handle, I think I'm gonna say that I like this because it changes the balance of the rod and it feels nice and comfortable to fish with for a long time. We were out for a lot of the day today. Good sensitivity on this Handing M1 rod as well. We were able to just kind of feel what was going on with our lures really well. Our crankbaits and our spinner baits especially. Those are lures that give you a lot of feedback with the rod. So yeah, guys, what is my final thoughts on this this rod here, this Handing M1? And it's really simple, guys. I think this is a pretty darn good rod for the money. For it's 120 at, I think that's like the listed price. I think right now, if I were to go on the website right now, it's $100 for this rod. There's also a 2-piece version that is cheaper. But if you want to support the channel, guys, I'm going to leave a link to the Handing M1 in the description of the video, and if you use that link to purchase the rod, I get a little bit of a percentage there. So if you want to support the channel, that's a great way to do it. And I really don't think you'll be disappointed in this rod, especially if you're wanting to have an option, a setup that can cast some lighter baits, guys, than a typical bait casting outfit would be able to. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give the Handing M1 a shot, guys, if you're in the market for a new casting rod. It's really solid, really comfortable. And with that being said, thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.